Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hyperloops 2020 podcast. This is your sixth straight episode. We've been podcasting every week in 2020, talking about Star Wars Destiny. I'm your boy Bobby Sapphire, and I'm here with all my friends, starting with Biggie. If you watch on YouTube, you can tell he looks like Obi-Wan Kenobi. So, Brandon, what's going on? How are you?
Good. It's been a bit. Just still playing a little Destiny and exploring some other stuff.
Sweet. And we got the boy, NJ Cuenca. What's up, Nick?
What's up, guys? How y'all been doing?
Nothing. How are them Jawas?
Oh, I played a game, and it's cool. Like, the beginning's cool, but yeah, your damage is rough because if you're doing aggro. I haven't gotten to the mill one yet, but I think the mill one actually might be good, just because you just have so much, so much mill stuff. It's free.
Yeah, that's sweet. And then, as always, honestly sarcastic, Joe.
Same old same. I have to go look at CM, man. I haven't been enthusiastic. I still don't even know when we're getting the sets. I saw something that said like March 6th through 26th expected ship date or something insane. And I'm just like, dude, I don't even want to look at this until I see it now. Like, I know it's all on the DB and stuff, but it's just like, oh god. So I've just been playing massive amounts of Runeterra and figuring how to, go pro.
Yeah, but we'll talk about Runeterra at the end for people who want to stick around for that. I figure we'll put it at the end. So Super Bowl tonight, I'm taking the Chiefs. It's only 1.5, but my prediction is Chiefs by like 3 to 5, low scoring game, maybe like a 28-20 type situation, 28-24.
No idea.
Is that what you consider? Is that what you consider a low scoring game?
The over-under is 54, so yeah, I think like under what? So I guess by low scoring, I think it's going to hit the under.
You're gonna be the under, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not know. I did not know the spread was that high. It's pretty big spread.
Yeah.
Chiefs have looked good this year. Them not going all the way, I feel like would be a disappointment for them, but it should be a good game.
I don't know. I just want to hear Bill Belichick reactions if he retires, and he's like, dude, they made me trade him, and I was so mad.
I think we'll get that someday. I don't think we're getting that soon.
It'll be in his book that I'm not going to read, but Bobby Sapphire will tell me about as long as I keep in contact with him.
Okay, bro.
Hey. I'll go off the grid, bro. I don't leave his basement for a week at a time.
All right, Joe's living that basement life. What's first on the rundown? I've already forgotten. Oh, primes. We got primes. We had 2 primes this weekend. One in North Carolina. It was small, 14 people, so it only cut to top 4. And then there was one in Tampa, Florida, which was streamed, which was pretty awesome. Even though there was some like really bad missed things on the stream, and I was like screaming at my phone while on vacation, and it made me sad. But I guess we could talk about the meta a little bit. North Carolina was won by Raylo, and it beat Palp Watt in the finals. And we've talked about the Raylo versus Red Palp situation and how Red Palp should be a bad matchup for Raylo, but Watt maybe not as much because of not having that extra removal when you play Maudie. So any thoughts on small regional won by Raylo?
Nah, 14 players. Like, it's...
Yeah,
Raylo's in a good spot. Like, it's
always
hard to
good.
know. I don't know. I don't recognize any of the names, so we can't get the load on anything.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough, but you kind of expect the Raylo to be there. So if it wasn't, then it's like, whoa. Nothing out of the norm that I noticed.
You guys have any thoughts on Raylo winning North Carolina?
I think that it's totally reasonable. It's still like a good deck. It didn't get touched by any of the nerfs. It's definitely a deck you always should be prepared for because it just seems that it's kind of a little culty. If you've been playing Raylo for a while, you're probably going to keep playing Raylo because it didn't get touched, and you should feel like okay about a lot of your matchups. Like a lot of the matchups are like okay, and you have to play like really tight. You can get some advantages, and if your opponent messes up once, then they could just have their guy die, and then you win. And against like Red Palp without Mahdi, I like Watt. He's cool, but the thing I never liked about Mahdi is it's just if you don't roll the discard, he's kind of just store SWAT.
If you don't roll single
when you do it
or resource,
Right, yeah, the double discard's rough too because you don't want to spend like one. I mean, you do and you don't. It's really awkward. Let's put it that way.
There's some matchups where I think it's fine, and I think Raylo is one of those matchups.
The mirror.
Yeah,
Yeah, the mirror.
Palp yellow.
If you
Palp
can get
yellow's-
out in front of
God,
it. Yep.
with my hand.
hmm
yeah. Raylo ends up, I'm sure Bobo can tell you, but Raylo ends up using like all of its cards like every round, like very easily. I mean, depending on the build, but the good builds are definitely going to be churning through their cards like in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I mean, like Raylo really relies on its hand, like sort of like Blue Hero always. But like so many damage out of hand cards, so you're taking those, you're taking a die. A lot of times those cards can focus the dice or remove yours, obviously. So I think that the 2 discard is usually worth the resource in that matchup, but I would see where you could fall behind by doing that in some matchups, or if you don't sequence it right and you're discarding at the wrong times, which is totally a thing. But sometimes even just leaving that 2 discard out, even if you don't resolve it, is kind of awesome in itself. So I think like just Monty has a lot of advantages in that way.
Yeah.
All
I mean,
right,
Watto has Watt has the double money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. If you want to play
Yeah.
logistics, it's better.
Yeah, I think it's obviously still a good deck. Like Raylo is just a lot of fun to still play. And I think like if you're going with, I think there's still a couple different versions, and if you're going with like the super aggressive one, it can still just burn through Palp before they have a chance to get set up or get going. If you can hit like that 8 damage round 1. But then I know there's more control versions as well that I don't know how they fare against it. Do we know what the build was for Raylo?
No, we don't have the list or anything anywhere.
I can't imagine it's
interesting.
too
I think
crazy.
the more aggressive one. Yeah, I think the more aggressive ones tend to have a better matchup into Palp.
Yeah.
Cool. And then, so one of the reasons why I think Raylo did perform well is because there was no Chopper Droids in the top cut, which was the deck that won Orlando. It also won LVO. It also won Worlds. It has survived 3 different nerfs and is still dominating the meta. Why is that? Anyone have a take on why it's still the best deck?
Chopper.
Yeah.
Value. If your opponent doesn't actively push your guy down, you're going to get so much value over time that you can kind of bury them. And I feel like people have gone away from being properly aggressive. And they're just kind of like toying around. Like you're seeing Raylo builds with like Saresu Masteries and Untamed Powers and a bunch of other crazy stuff in my mind. And they're kind of not putting their foot on the pedal and ending the game fast. They're like dirtling around, trying to sustain and survive and like kill your entire board while I've taken like 5 damage and 8 million shields. And it's like you can't contend if you're going to sit there and dirtle around. You're going to get easy picked at some point if you're just sitting there trying to prevent.
Yeah, I'm not
Any
sure.
other hot takes?
I'm not sure if are all the lists still playing Flea? Like,
Yeah,
or
all the choppers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I figured, but and that card's brutal against Raylo. But it's
If
just,
they're going slow, yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like, if you just roll out damage, and she's like easy picking such a blowout too. Like when that, it's just like hard you keep in your hand, and if you ever get it, you're just like, well, it's gonna be hard. I just tapped your guy. I just exhausted your character for 1 resource. Good job.
I think still the flexibility of C-3PO makes it so strong. Like, if you compare him to like what Snoke used to do to boost stuff, as soon as you took it away and made it damage only, it kind of went south real fast. But the fact that you can ramp or disrupt or discard and then close out with damage, shield, yeah, the fact that you have all those options just gives, I think, skilled players the opportunity to make better decisions.
Yeah, I think all that's true, and I think like Joe mentioned value, but one of the things that I thought was really good about Rothermel's deck was that he just had so much mitigation, and it was always turned on. And I thought we had a lot of mitigation too, but the value that Chopper provides you in getting upgrades up for cheaper, it's one of the few decks that can sort of like build out their board while holding up resources to remove dice, which is just so huge. Many decks can't do that. Most decks pay to get an upgrade out, like, your basic upgrade, or need to go get a resource so they can play a 3-cost upgrade or a support. And by doing that, they go shields down on their money. One of the reasons, Joe, why you like 3PO so much is sort of like what Biggie said. You used to be able to just like get 5 resources, start the game with just a ton of resources, so you can play things and still hold up mitigation. So with Chopper being able to get you that 1 cost thing for free or the 2 costs for -1, with this power action and recur from the graveyard rather, you just always have your mitigation up. You always have your flee or your pickings up. You always have a near miss up. It's very, very hard to go completely shields down.
Yeah, and like for me, it's value, right? Like I talked about dice a couple times, and it's like, okay, you have 5 die droids, and then R2 ability, a 3PO ability, and the chopper ability. So that could be 8 dice worth you're starting with, and if people are starting with 4, 5, 6, as long as your guys are staying intact, you're going to continue to spew out value, and you can just push people down. You know, you got 4, they got like 2, and you got a couple things out. If they didn't get anything out, cool. Go to the next round. Do whatever, smash in 4 damage, flee the scene. Oh, you want to end the round? Awesome, let's go do this again.
Yep, and just keeps going.
Yeah.
I think the floor of consistency is also pretty high for the kind of aggressive deck that is. Like,
oh yeah,
when you're a chopper deck and you roll hot, like it's like game over. But even if you roll bad, you're like, all right, well I'll flip and blah blah blah. But
yeah, you only need like 1
hot,
die to roll a 2. Like when one of your dice hits a 2x, it's like, oh my god, this is the lottery, because now I'm going to be able to push like 7, 8 damage, easy.
Yeah.
So some of the things, like, so I was hoping that Reflex would show up so that he could talk about his Dryden Voss run, because he lost in the top 8 with Dryden, ran into probably his worst match in the whole event in a Maul. Was it Maul Fost?
Maul Fost profitable.
Profitable, yeah, it was Maul Fost profitable, which is like the one deck with Dryden you really, really, really don't want to see. The mitigation isn't great. Like, obviously you don't face easy pickings, flee the scene, but it still has the best defense and starting with 3 resources, so Maul can take a weapon, which is really what makes his power action insane. So not surprised to see that what end his day. But we also saw him on stream round 2, after having done no damage round 1, kill an entire droids team off of 4 admiral activations, or 4 activations, 3 with admirals.
Yeah,
Seems
that's
good.
nuts.
Which is, just savage. So I would like to hear a little bit more details on that. We talked a little bit about Dryden last week, but do you guys have any thoughts after seeing his run or anything like that?
Let you guys go first. Biggie, you're up.
All right. I think Dryden's always just been a fun character with a fun ability. It was whether you can make it consistent or not. It obviously has the power to just do some huge blowout things. So I think the current build has been pretty refined. You can get big stuff out. You can just, like I said, it's fun to play. So I think that was part of the reason that Reflex brought it, was he just wanted to try something different and something fun. And then obviously he's a really good player, getting the best out of the deck.
I think the deck is just a fun deck. It obviously has problems with random decks like Maul, where a card like the best defense can just kind of shut you down. Even droids, like if they draw flee, like that can be brutal. Although the deck's kind of fast, like you just Dryden, activate, player, delve. You can get Dryden out there first, and then just use your supports. So it's definitely probably the best YOLO deck. I think it would be a better deck than Maul if you're like want to play like actual like casino Destiny.
Dude, I'd be all about that Voss life. I'd go to play at a tournament. If we went to nationals right now, I would play.
Yeah, you like it that much?
Well, it's because you know me. I love playing combo, and it's just like, how do I kill my opponent? Exactly like this. It's like, oh, I did all this cool shit, and you're dead. No, I actually think that's really good, because a lot of the people are playing Raylo, right? Low on removal or non-existent. Palp, low on removal or non-existent. Like, you can just straight smash through those decks, because they're like, oh, I did like 6, and you're like, I did like 12 resources worth of stuff. Good luck. And I'm actually kind of surprised he could have lost them all, right? Because the expectation is if you can go successfully do this stuff, you can actually just punch Maul straight off the table. So I guess like if he whiffs a Dryden special and got the other one mitigated, or like the Maul Saber comes down, hits you for like 8, then you get mitigated, and then he kills your guy, and you got like a Planetary Bombardment or something, just something janky off, or Bombardment's fine. And Maul got to kind of stay alive, then there's going to be a problem because your Arinda's not going to live that long. But I think from a deck perspective, like it's really strong in the fact that it can just put out a bunch of big things and just murder the opponent really quickly. And like no one's playing aggressive enough. They're all trying to sit there and stop 3 damage here and stop 3 damage there. That when you're progressively just getting more and more big things, you're playing like the old school support decks. You just only have 23 HP? 22 HP?
Yeah.
Is Voss 13? Yeah. So
Yeah,
you're short a couple, but not a ton. His special's just trying to ride for like 4 resources.
Yeah.
Go. So I'd like it. I'd play it. I'm probably going to make some videos for it for the patrons because I'm kind of short on those. Too much Runeterra. But
Yeah, well,
like you said-
like I said, I would have liked to hear exactly how those games went, especially if you think that that's like an advantageous one. But yeah, I guess if you whiff on them, like what did we say? Like Zion's list only had 4 whiffs or something.
6 total. It was 4 total between armor platings and riot shields, and then 2 counter intells.
Mm-hmm.
So like you normally mull for those anyways, but I thought Zion was going to actually run the table. There was just like a lot of like in my mind sloppy play that was just like prohibiting him quite frequently.
Mm-hmm.
What?
No, it just last week. It's just the Dagger Zion podcast number 2.
hey, much respect for playing it. He did the run well. He could have.
Yeah, absolutely. And the effect of Dryden is palpable on the metagame.
Yeah.
Pun not
Yeah.
intended.
It was
But yeah, even with that, like I'm surprised that the droids wouldn't have taken it down, but obviously Reflex just had that crazy nut draw, and I heard like the guy pitched a flea instead of removing some dice.
yeah.
But I didn't watch too closely. I was in the middle of stuff, so.
Yeah, I think he used the flea and then like pitched it. And flea's a tough one there because like you'd have to get real value out. Going to the next round for Dryden's not very good because they're gonna get the 2 resources. So like you situated him in that position to like just go off. Especially if you're like, oh, I dealt 4 and we went to the next round. And he's like, thanks, guy. I need that 2 money.
Cool. So I guess we're moving on to talk about CM just in general and some decks.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'm kind of waiting for Joe to give me the nod because I'm like, I have the screen with the chat up and I'm not looking at the list.
I can't see any of that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, no, man, it makes sense. There's nothing like do you guys think there's anything left from non-CM for a deck that could have came out or could come out?
Well, I feel like Dryden was sort of like the last.
Yeah, hurrah!
Yeah.
I liked it. Like we used to see Dryden in blue, and they were just like, nah, I don't need that red. Ah. Like it was always Towson, right? Like because you wanted.
I think that there is a Afro deck out there that could be viable, but I just don't think it's worth looking into it. There were some weird non-Delve Fist Afro decks that I had that were actually like good against droids, and I think it's like pretty good against Raylo and against Dryden. I'd imagine only 23 health, having all that indirect could also be good. And it's just you still have the palp problem, and I think the palp problem gets worse when you just can't delve out Fist.
Yeah.
very much.
I think it's been interesting to see some of the Callus decks that have come out. I don't know if there's any stronger builds or best Callus build that still hasn't been explored, but I think of all the characters that had their point cost reduced, he was one of the most interesting.
I think there might be the Order 66
Yeah,
might be good in the meta if it's played more. I just don't see it being played a ton.
Well, there's like famously Elrathion played it at Vegas before like dropping himself when he realized he had an illegal deck, and then Zill won his prime with it.
Right.
So it's there, and people are into it.
if you play Voss and you play against Order 66, do you just punch the guy?
But that's what I'm thinking is that now you're just like, oh, you have boss. It's like that seems like a buy, right?
And then
You're just oh.
now that I think about it, like Arathion's teammates with Zion, was that like a hate call? He's like, oh, I fucking hate playing against you. I'm gonna order 66 you. Like, roll out order 66, hit your guy. Next round, order 66 killed you. Like was that was that run for that entire goal? Because like that'd be dirty, right? Like hitting. I feel like hitting Palps 2 dice or like whatever. I guess Raylo's really good versus. Okay, but like man,
Right,
I'd be salty as shit. Man, bad beats. But yeah,
I mean, it could be one of those things in testing. If you're running into that really good and it feels like a good matchup, then you doesn't specifically have to be a I hate you thing.
nah, I'm going with I hate you. It sounds better. It's feistier.
Let's go.
This way they can come clap back, and he's Agent Zion's gonna be like, yeah, man, that bastard, or he's gonna be like, nah, man, he just really liked that deck, and then I just won't tell anybody anyways. But yeah, no, I don't know. CM, I'm really excited for Face the Enemy. Anyone that was watching, I had that card up the entire time for a long time. That card seems broken, man. I've already heard findings of it just being absolutely bananas in like matches and games you shouldn't win. We're one on the back of playing this. You guys remember Face the Enemy?
Yeah.
No, really listening to you.
Yeah. Well, no, Biggie's the search and stuff, so I wasn't sure if you knew. But for
It's
anyone listening in, that's 0 cost, spot an exhausted character to force an opponent to draw 2 cards, then look at that opponent's hand, place up to 2 cards from it on top of their deck in any order. It's red villain. I think it's amazeballs, and if anything starts to try to counteract like hero meta, or the existing meta, it's going to be Face the Enemy. Like, you just get blown the hell out. I'll take your dice, or I'll take all your removal, and your rounds all like shattered in pieces. All while it looked like I was trying to set up a Forsaken.
Yeah, it's gonna be gross,
Yeah.
and I'll be interested to see, if it like right now be leader in the clubhouse, like card I wouldn't, it's like just not a card you want to see. I'm gonna be so deflated. It's such a high and low too, because they're like, oh, draw 2, and you're like, great, and then wait, take 2.
Ugh.
They got
It's the look too, man. The look is brutal.
them.
Like if it was put one random back, like look at the hand, pick one, and then like shuffle after, pick a random one. It's like, oh, okay. Like they only got one, and then you YOLO'd for the other.
Yeah, so you had some lack of knowledge, like there's one card that you don't know.
Well,
If
not
it's
that.
there
I
or
mean,
not.
like it's just that like, so if you saw the hand and saw 2 removal, you could take one and then hope to hit the other.
Right, that's
Yeah,
what I mean. You
yeah.
just you don't know if you got it, so you have to play.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Perfect information is just like no good.
Perfect info's so broken. It's like ghosting somebody.
And just
like
better than
Twitch
counterintelligence because it doesn't have the spot elite.
stream sniping. Sorry, my mind is ghosting.
Yeah. Also, they're going to draw that card again with counterintelligence, so like you only dodge it for so long, and it only hits events. And with Face the Enemy, you can hit any kind of card. It doesn't have to just be events and removal.
Oh god, it just reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Rise of the Wind Monarch. Like you could take a card on the board and put it back on top of the deck. You're like, oh, that shit card. Draw on that next round. You don't need these right now. No rerolls, baby. You're gonna take these desperate measures for the next round again. More blanks. Let's go.
Yeah, just jamming the hand is so insane.
The Sentinel Messenger mirrors with that card are just going to be so stupid and like annoying to play because you got to position yourself to like have the last Sentinel Messenger activation.
Who gets to order how they go?
No, because the put cards on back, you just put a shit card on the one that.
But who decides? The person who plays the Face the Enemy decides the order.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
have it in front of me. I didn't know if it might have said like that player puts 2 cards on top of their deck.
No, because you don't get to pick. I get to pick. So.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's like, say you take like 2 removal, and then that's all they have in their hand, but then now you kind of want to wait for their Sentinel, right? Because it depends on what kind of card you want to put on top. If they have a lot of resources, like if they say you're playing against Afro the Sentinel, and then you take both of their droids, or you could take their like it's just it makes it more awkward.
Yeah. Fair, but you'd probably just put whatever random shit card on the immediate top, so Sentinel can't flip and use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I just it makes the card worse because you have to consider Sentinel.
That's fair. In my mind, I'm
How
still
much
thinking
Sentinel
about
do you think is still going to be out there?
the what happened?
How much Sentinel do we think is still going to be played?
I don't know. That's a good question. Like, it really
Like,
depends on
are we
what's
worried
still
about
good,
some-
right?
Yeah.
He's still one of the best 8-cost
Yeah.
cards ever printed. So.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
It's sexy, and
Mhm.
he can activate and flip over face the enemy and make the opponent quit. Like, roll out, dies in the pool, face the enemy. Look at your hand. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, Probe is already pretty dirty with him, but man,
I mean, all the 0-cost events are dirty with him. Probe was dirty. Forsaken. Like, there's just so many good cards with him.
Imagine the friends in low places that if you could do it back in the day. You just couldn't because set 7. But now that, you know, Destiny's dead and we got all these $12 boxes of random shit, maybe get that chaos draft going. You get a Sentinel Messenger activation into a friends in low places.
Oh,
Yeah,
good dream.
boy.
yeah, there was like an Amazon was selling boxes of legacies for $20 or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I wasn't joking. There was a lot of random boxes of like Empire at War for $12,
Yep.
free shipping and crazy stuff. It's like the shipping's already like $7.
Right.
Yeah, I got a box of Spirit Rebellion, like as a prize for something, and we drafted with it, and it was like a $200 box if I'd opened it at like it had all the legendaries, the Riot Baton, the Force Speed, but it is fun going back and playing with some of that old stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like Mike Rudin and Jay and Chris have been playing like Awakenings block streams and like having a blast, and people are loving playing Awakenings block again. It's too funny.
Awakenings block was a good block. I remember drafting with you guys that one time, and we said we'd come and draft every other 2 weeks.
Yeah, the best laid plans.
Yeah, it's like our original podcasting debut. We're gonna do this frequently, guys.
Just had to wait till the game would die to really go for it. Right?
Yeah, exactly. We can talk shit all day.
Should I?
You guys
Should I
want
be,
to talk? Go ahead, Nick.
I was gonna say, should we blame ourselves for Destiny dying? Like, had we in the other universe when we do podcasts every week, does that like raise sales so much that Destiny?
Yes,
That's
absolutely. Our reach is infinite.
Yes, it's because
oh, we have like a
big YouTube
million
channels.
listeners, right?
Blame Tiny Grimes. It's Tiny Grimes' fault. So in another universe, Tiny Grimes kept talking about Destiny, and more people got into it.
Yeah,
And we
right.
switched to doing Switch games, and like, look how well that unit's selling. So
Tiny, the genius who recommended.
selling Switch to the world.
Dude, we gotta have Tiny Grimes on at some point. He had you on so many times, we have to.
I know he really did. Do we want to talk about CM? Do you guys have anything that you've been working on? So CM, if you don't know, Covert Missions, you can now publish deck lists on the database. So you can build, you can publish, you can get feedback, you can get attention. A lot of Krennic decks out there, a lot of Boba Jango out there, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't really been messing around. I saw like some people posted updated Raylo lists. There's a lot to be working on right now, but no like real pressure to do it because CM is still stuck in the warehouses. So, any thoughts on CM?
I'm gonna build around Smuggler.
Yeah, you like that guy?
It's a good guy, man. Sorry. So anyone listening in, Master Smuggler, 1013. He's a non-unique. 10 health, scoundrel. Die sides, 1 ranged, 3 range for a resource, 1 disrupt, 1 discard, 1 shield, and a blank. So you heard it here, folks. No resource sides, and I might like the guy. Here's the ability. After you activate this character, you may resolve one of your scoundrel dice as if it were showing a resource. Hit that 3 for 1, plus 2
Yeah,
money.
seems good.
Hired muscle, 6 sides of pure joy.
value.
3 of them give you an additional resource. 3 of them give you 2 additional resources. Oh my god. Yeah. Pure value.
It's pretty
Yeah,
sexy.
and I mean when you play an entourage, all the 2 resource. Now every side except the special is a 2 resource or more.
And the blink. But yeah.
Oh yeah,
three indirect. Free
3
money.
indirect, 3 resource. Woo!
Mm-hmm.
But I'd rather just play the hired muscle because no one wants to mitigate it. And then, like, just imagine the life of Fickle, right? Like, you just start doing Fickle, and you're like, oh, 2 money, 3 for 1 money, 2 more money.
Mm-hmm.
money and a resource, and a blank, and you're just like, man, that was broken. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick.
Do you do Smuggler Elite though? That's the real question. I don't think I could. I don't think I have the nads for it. Elite Smuggler R2 and a 3PO.
13 points.
13 points.
Yeah, his die's not great,
No. It's
but his
rough.
ability. Is
The
nice.
ability's fantastic. But I want to put him with
Yep.
like R2 and 3PO, right?
Yeah.
All the value.
Yeah. 30% to activate and get +2 resources, but then you're really sad after. So it's like, 3PO, give us some disrupt and discards. We gotta get the face the enemy out of his hand.
You can off the sensors activate R2, and flip it, and then resolve the one you want.
Yep. Or you can just
Only
put a
cost-
Rex's Blaster on Master Smuggler when you had 3 money.
Also a good point. That's probably a better play.
It tries. You can't put it on Master Smuggler because it doesn't do anything. You're just like, oh, activated R2, yeah, but this ability's already in the stack. Bye, guy. Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, that seems good. I definitely feel like we're in the CM planning where like people are just making the cool thematic decks. Like, let me make a Spectre deck, let me make a Krennic deck, let me make like Kaz, Luke, Anakin piloting deck. And not necessarily going for the broken value plays. Like, let me build a Death Field deck or whatever.
Let me pick Cragen Pirates because he's gonna be a jerk. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I built a Jawa mill deck.
Yeah,
So-
you're gonna mill people.
What are you, Gandork?
I honestly like one. It's basically 3 for free when you activate a Jawa, right? The Utini. If you have 3, and obviously, I just think that 4 is probably not what you want to do, just because you want at least like another color. So
You need a color to survive.
yes, exactly. I think I've been every week. I've been covering new cards from CM. So if you're interested, check me out either Wednesdays or Thursdays, depending on how the schedules work out. But I've been doing one. I did a Krennic one. I did a Jawa one. I did a Poe one, the big Poe. And I just realized that I missed something with Big Poe, which probably is not a big thing, but Merchant Freighter is also a vehicle. So that's
Merchant
a card.
Freighter's broken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Merchant Freighter is real good. So that, on top of it being a good card, with Jawas, is just a vehicle, and you can pilot it, and it's pretty funny, and it's really good with eject, like super good.
It's really good with armored reinforcement.
Yeah, also really good with it's just a really good card.
I'm gonna go get my profitable connection from my deck. Okay, I'm gonna get a resource.
Yeah, it's not even. Yeah, it's like a profitable connections on crack.
Every round, let's go.
Yeah. Oh, 3 rounds of free money. I started with 3 extra money. That's nice.
Go broke or go home.
Yeah. So that's all stuff that should definitely be looked into. Armored reinforcements. Those cards are so good. With Freighter. But yeah, check it out if you haven't checked out those articles. They're fun reads. I don't have the most time to test everything, but I even like just perusing the DB for ideas. And I was actually trying to work on who was his character that I was working on that just didn't seem like he was definitely not going to be good enough and not fun to build, because I was just going to be like, this character. Oh yeah, the Wookiees, just it's rough. The Wookiees are rough, man. Like, I was looking like every week. What's good about doing these articles is I basically look at the set over and over again every week for a few hours, and man, the Wookiees are brutal. Because you don't have you don't want to play Vengeful Wookiee because he doesn't have a die and he costs 7, and his ability doesn't do anything until he has a 6 damage on him.
Just run the Karshik one. It's a 8/11.
I think that's the good one.
You mean the yellow one?
No, he's
The
red.
one the non-unique red one that can be elite. The 8/11.
Oh yeah. That one's good. That and
Sheik. That's the only good
Sheik.
one. That's the only good Wookiee. Every other Wookiee's trash, including
Tarful-
Wookiee Warrior. Tarful's also
okay.
caca.
Tarful's okay. His die's fine for like 14. If you just looked at his die, it's like 2 range, 2 focus, +1 has free damage sides, and the +1 health for him is tough.
Tarful's 1/1/2, 2 focus resource.
Yeah, that's not terrible. He has 11 health.
Kashyyyk gets 10 health for 8 points, and it's 1/1 2-for-1 disrupt resource.
Yeah, but 2-for-1s are not great.
But it's 8 points, 11 for the elite. So you save 3 points.
So this is the conversation that's going in my mind. Like all this seems bad. It's just
except for 11 points for 2 dice. You're like, okay, 10
Yeah,
health,
that's
2 dice, 11 points. You're like, that's fine. 14 points. Your dude has to be actually actively good.
Well, I was just trying to do the article with like the idea of, hey, they have this Wookiee theme that they kind of want you to build with. Let's see if we can actually build something that looks like reasonable. And like the most reasonable pairing I found was what was it? It was Elite. Well, it was basically Tarful, Kashyyyk Warrior, and Chopper.
Oh, that's terrible. No, so like the thing I like about the Kashyyyk is if you want to run the plot, which is 3 points, then it makes them 14 points. So then you can actually put them with a 16-point active like character that's solid, and you can use the plot to protect that character while dumping the stuff onto Kashyyyk. I know you guys hate me for my pronunciations. Is that anywhere close to how the hell you say it? Kashyyyk?
Yeah, Kashyyyk.
Kashyyyk, okay.
Kashyyyk, maybe. I know, I've heard it a bunch of different ways.
Kashyyyk.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is that sure he's like I think he's fine. He has 10 health for 8 if you just want a big meat sack. His ability,
big old sack of meat.
Yeah, a big sack of meat that doesn't really do anything.
Sounds like
so. Yeah, I just say that was my thought process. I hope I'm wrong. I hope someone finds some sweet Wookiee deck, but yeah, it's tough.
Caca trash. Throw it in the poop pile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I probably won't do a Wookiee article. Let's put it that way, because that's what I started with, and then I was like, nah, let's look at Jawa. Jawa's cooler. I like Jawa.
You could totally do the Wookiee article, and you put your play in, and then you just talk about how miserable you are after. You're like, I played against a mill deck. This is I hate my life.
Right, exactly. It's just, I don't want to do that to myself. I try to keep it positive because I found that people like positive writing. Like, oh, this card's trash, poor trash.
They definitely like you to be positive.
Really?
People do negativity.
It depends. It depends on the person.
They laugh at the negativity. They applaud the positivity.
Well, it can't be all negative, right? I think that I like to pepper in like, oh, but that just seems like trash, and then it sort of balances because it's kind of like the music of la 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 la. Oh.
I don't know, man. When you listen to like death metal, it's a bunch of throughout the entire thing. People listen to that, so somebody's got to like the negativity the entire way through, right?
Yeah. No, I used to watch a Hearthstone streamer for like a day or two, but then I was like, man, this guy just like complains all the time. I don't like that.
There's a lot of people complain when playing card games.
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually a perfect segue to talk about books. It's like I was thinking about how to like broach this topic today when I was driving, and I was like, it really comes down to how much you really want to complain about the game. So this is in response to some people complaining to Alex Davey. Was it Alex Davey? Which Alex is it?
Watkins.
Alex Watkins. Alex Davies, a different Alex at FFG. Alex Watkins like replied to a post by Jack from Golden Dice, and then like, you know, Jack was trolling him by pinging him, but then he replied because I think like he kind of knew that he was being trolled and he'd never responds. But then it just became like, what if, you know, these are the ways that you've messed up over the past 6 months or 9 months or 3 years or whatever. And it just turned into like a whole lot of complaining. And so I made this post that was like, we just all need to fucking chill because like we don't have to sever the relationship with FFG. Like there are things that they could potentially do for us. We still want CM to come out. Like they're holding it hostage. People still want Wild Horizons to come out. I'm not saying like, you know, jiggle their balls or anything. Just like we don't have to go rage on them.
Why burn down the house?
Right. Like why burn down the house? Like you can hate him and you can complain, but do it in a way that's like constructive or like that solves a problem. I just think that the complaining into the void of the internet is so bad on any level, whether it be about, you know, the country or your relationship or like what you ate for dinner or whatever. I just would like to see, like, I know some people who've been talking to people at FFG, like Matt Holland and stuff, and like Matt Holland was a great advocate for us, and I think he knew the end was coming and he wanted to see things done right by us. But all the bitching and complaining and raging that, like, I know people who have talked to FFG people said, yeah, our empathy, sympathy for Destiny players is just completely out the window over the last 2 weeks. That they just don't give a shit anymore, and they're still running Worlds, and they still have to put out Wild Horizons. And I don't know, if people want these things, they should shut the fuck up and just wait for it all to happen. Like, wait for the whole relationship to get severed. If you really, really, really need to just bitch into the internet.
Yeah, but like, do you wait for the relationship to sever before you send them 8 million text messages? No, you just exploded it by doing that.
Yeah, it's just like a bad breakup. It's like, but I didn't want this breakup, this relationship to end. Like,
I'm glad you guys think that, because people kind of harp on me because of the not FFG's just not that into you article, but like, this is exactly like a breakup, and like, these people are acting like they've never had a horrible, life-altering, devastating breakup before.
Some people haven't. Some people live in their little.
Go to the gym.
Yeah, I had a MySpace relationship that ended poorly, and I deleted it. And I really wish I kept it just so I could like read. Yeah. Oh man, the cringe of like 21-year-old Nico.
Dude, I might be able to log into that.
I don't know. You just gotta like move on.
God, MySpace. Holy shit.
Just like all the raging going on, and like you want to complain, fine. Just find a constructive way to do it, or do it somewhere that's not gonna ruin things for other people. I'm no defender of FFG by any means, but I also just don't see anything constructive about airing out your emotions on Facebook or contacting your ex a million times.
Right. I think the targeting is the worst part. It borders on kind of bullying of these people who are just doing their jobs. They're trying to live their lives, and then Destiny fanboy that are butthurt, like, oh, like, why'd you do that? Blah blah.
Exactly. It's the why do you do that, and that we just. I got into some arguments even in the Discord with people because they think that, like, this guy, because he's the head of a department, should know every single minor thing done in his department. And even if that's true, he could not want to tell us. He could not be. He might want to check in with his team before he tells us. There's all these reasons, and for people to try and tell me or other people on Facebook or in Discord like what his job is or what his job should be, it's just moronic. Like, you don't know anything. You don't know shit about shit. And you can't just expect people to do everything you want to do to appease you. And if someone tried to tell me how to do my job, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way, I'd be like, fuck off. You don't know anything about me or what I do.
Yeah.
And even if they were right, I would respond like that.
The ongoing thing of...
I have some parenting advice, by the way, Mike.
I can't wait.
Have you tried the microchip in the brain to help them study better?
Yeah, I used an ice pick to get that in, and now I feel like someone could have told me a better way to do it.
Right up the nose.
Up the nose. Why didn't I think of that? Up the nose. Why did I use an ice pick through the eye?
Yeah.
Lobotomy, old school style.
So yeah, I don't know.
CSS is knocking on the door right now.
I just yeah. So that's my spiel. Just like, nothing good is going to come out of it, and for a group that wants something out of, people are complaining about how FFG is doing things, but FFG is still trying to do things for the Destiny community, and they're making it worse because the people at FFG, I've heard secondhand that they are like over us completely because of the way Destiny people are acting.
Yeah, that's sad.
So just get to Worlds, get Wild Horizons on, and then we can do our own OP. Biggie, you said that your community is still going strong. So what are you guys doing over there?
I mean, we're small, but yeah, we're still playing like twice a week. So it's been fun. I think it's been hard for people. I know what we've done like the last 2 sets was do like a sealed league, and we were looking forward to that with CM. And we kind of pushed back doing like one of our days of play, waiting for that to come out. So that week's been rough, and I hope we still get some good participation on that. But still a lot of excitement about like the Wild Horizons coming out and being able to get that. But yeah, I think like I liked your article about some of the suggestions we could do moving forward. Because if we do OP, I'd like to have stuff to give out and ways to motivate people. But I know I thought it was cool the other day, like our store owner walked up and he's like, he just kind of said, "Hey guys, I know people are upset that it's canceled. I just want you guys to know that you're welcome to still come here and play as long as you want, even if there's not product for sale. We still want you here." So I think that probably exists other places, and I hope people find ways to keep playing the game and being excited about the game. Because I mean, we do have 2 sets, hopefully, to explore, and I mean it's like a year's worth of new decks and leagues and playing different stuff. If people want to buy into that and still want to like sit down and play before, I think stuff will start to feel really stale again.
Mm-hmm.
Got to reinvent the world, baby. We had legacies for like 6 months. We still had new decks coming out. Even right now, we've had this for forever. And Voss is like, "I'm a boss, baby."
Boss the boss.
And I think big things are like, I know people are already talking about like the continuing of Destiny, and does that then shift a lot of it to TTS? Because I mean, we can find ways to produce cards, but it's going to be pretty hard to find ways to produce dice. But I think like if the group's active in expanding like the infinite format and working to continue to balance stuff, I think there is a way to keep Destiny going as like a physical game that people play for a while.
If you buy out all the $12 boxes, all you need to do is make stickers.
Yeah, that's true.
True.
Like those boxes are cheaper than making actual dice, right? Like any blank die is more expensive than the stupid box of Destiny.
Yeah. It's yeah, I think like we're working on things, the logistical way to do it, but stickers is definitely the way to do it. The only like printed dice we're talking about is like crystal dice. Like you could get clear blue dice and then put the stickers on that, so you had like some dope dice for your new cards.
Mm-hmm.
And even just like formalizing ways to like use D6s, like making rules that formalize like they have to be different colors or whatnot, just so ways that people can sit down and continue to.
Yeah, for sure. I think like all that will be broached when we figure out exactly what's coming out with new cards 2021 end of 2020.
I've looked into this, and you can just get regular D6s that are like custom made with just the symbols and numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And if you wanted to produce 100 of them and then give them out, or whatever the demand is for that particular character,
Right.
you could. I think it's definitely the way that is the most cost effective. We're obviously not going to. People are not going to produce the same quality, I don't think, because I was looking into it and like thinking about designing games myself and seeing, oh well, those dice are premium dice, that they're expensive to produce, and that's probably one of the reasons why the game's getting canceled. But if you just have like a regular, like a D6, but instead of the numbers, you just have a resource symbol and a 1, or a dash for the blank and that sort of thing, you could probably scale that somewhat easy and get that produced cheaper, and it would be better. It might be better than stickers. I don't know. I'd be worried about just having to like if you use dye too much, then the sticker gets kind of messed up or whatever. But It is what it is. And you can also, and there's just like so much now custom stuff that you could produce. You can actually get probably the same size as a Destiny die.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just like an idea that I was looking into, because thinking about other like not copying Destiny, but making a game that had a very similar mechanic to the die rolling. Because I think one of the big draws, besides the flavor of Destiny, is the fact that you are rolling dice a lot. And I think the action of rolling dice, people just really like that. Like I really like that.
Yeah, no, I know you've mentioned it before, and I think it's a good way to start off. Like if you had a new game, just that tactile sort of involvement in your decision making has been good. All right, well, we're bordering on 50 minutes, so I don't think we have much left to cover. Loop back around to anything.
Cragen. Gotta play Cragen.
Did you guys want to talk about Runeterra for a little bit, like 5 minutes or so?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we got all the Destiny out of the way, and if anyone's interested in listening to us talk for a couple minutes about why we're playing some Runeterra,
I will say one thing that was on my mind about we are continuing the Patreon just for anyone who wants to support us, and we made some adjustments. If you were part of our Discord, you should talk.
Nick, I'm gonna mute you.
No. I'm saying you should talk to us if you were part of our Discord, just so we can give you some information. That's all I'll say about that. I wasn't going to say anything else. Yeah.
Erstwhile Patreon subscribers should reach out.
Yeah. Exactly. But we are going to be doing like the tournament prep.
Yeah, we're going to continue content until Worlds for sure.
Yes. Post stats, whatever. And if you're looking into Runeterra and stuff like that, there's some stuff that may or may not be happening. Might do separate, but you'll hear news at some point.
Yeah, and like just to start off the Runeterra conversation, like Runeterra is a new CCG. It's based on the League of Legends intellectual property. So it's free to play. There's daily quests. It's a financial system. You can pay to like get stuff, but it's just a new CCG. And over the past year, I think we've branched out. Argent Saga, we played some Artifact.
Mm-hmm.
Now looking at Legends of Runeterra. As we figure it out, we're kind of like, we've been doing streams in our Discord, and then we've even done some Twitch streams just to see if there's interest in it among Destiny players. Like most of our audience is Destiny people, so as we figure out the game and people have questions, we want to introduce people to the game, and just kind of figure out if it's something we even want to play or anything. So that's sort of where my head's been at. Joe, you've been playing a lot more than me. How are you liking it?
I like the game a fair bit. So, like, I remember you talked to me before, like, the arena system and how they kind of, like, fixed the land issue to an extent with, like, the mulligan. I'm a big fan of, just no land system whatsoever, but there's still a mana system of some sort, so that's not kind of obscene. And they really do, like, the back and forth, like Destiny, so it's kind of easy to latch on to that in that respect, like, the whole, like, priorities and whatnot, and, like, taking actions at a time. So it's really nice there. You don't have to worry about an entire turn going by. Very little actual counterspell. There's like one card and it can't hit everything. So you don't feel as bad as in Magic when you like make lands and then you just get denied the entire game. Which means like you can't do anything. You actually, you actively normally get to play with the opponent. And they set up kind of more like a pseudo kind of comeback system that is actually really intuitive. If you don't spend some mana you had left over in a prior round, it can go into a bucket to be used on spells. So it's a big thing. Like
it's like a built-in little ramp system that you can use just for spells, not allies, creatures.
Yep. So like you can actually play control, backed by that little spell bucket. I like the game quite a bit. I think the thing I like the most though is that they set up so that any player could just go in and it's free. They're going to give you some stuff to start with. They're going to give you a bunch of like daily quests and rewards to reach into. If you can play like a few games a day, which are like 10-minute games or less, which is also really nice because playing Star Wars, I was kind of spoiled with 35-minute rounds as opposed to like 55-minute Magic ones, which horrify me now.
Especially best of threes.
Yeah, and God forbid X-Wing in like an hour and 15 minutes. Like, yeah, you guys can go screw. Hey, Joe, you want to play X-Wing? Hell no.
Hell no.
I'm sorry. You started the tournament at 8 a.m. You guys are still going at midnight? And was it 6 rounds? Yeah, great. Thanks.
It's bad. It's real bad.
Yeah, I think the monetization on it's real fair as well. I know there's always concern with games like this that it's going to be pay to win.
Mm-hmm.
And you're still able to buy wild cards, which then you can turn in for any card of that rarity. But there's a limit to how many you can buy a week.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you want to drop $500 and have all the cards right off the bat, you can't. Which I think has made the game really fun right now as far as trying to do ladder or constructed play, because there's very few people out there that just... You can't have every meta deck.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have the best decks. So it's kind of, you look at what you have, what combo seems strong, and just kind of throw it together, see if it works. If it's working, then maybe buy a couple more cards to fill it out. but it feels a lot more like going to a local night where people are buying a couple packs a week or something like that and slowly building their decks, as opposed to some other games where you just sign in and you're just getting smashed by the people that have spent money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The starters they give you are actually pretty nice too, because they give you some champions to play with. So, once you get that stuff, it's I don't know. I like it a lot. I like it a whole lot. I'm hoping it takes off, but I also liked Artifact, so it's kind of tough.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked Artifact because the gameplay was like high level. Like to this day, I can't sit there and be like, I could keep track of what was happening for 3 full rounds. No, like I'm happy when I can do like one entire full thing with the 3 boards, because the next round I'm all jacked up.
Yeah. I mean, Artifact was just crazy.
Yeah.
This game's cool though. It does there's so many interesting things about the sequencing, and it's like, it's taken some getting used to. I'm still getting used to it, still making stupid mistakes and things that I feel like I should know. But it's a complicated game, and that's sort of what I like about it.
A lot of great stuff.
And I think, comparing it to Artifact, like that game rose and died really quick. I think Riot already has said that they're working on expansions and stuff like that, so they're gonna push it for a while, and like there should be new stuff coming out. And I know with their other games, they're pretty quick to react as far as balancing stuff. If stuff gets way too out of hand,
Yep.
They'll find a way to just keep it moving and keep it balanced, which I think for a CCG like this, you need in order for it to have long-term success.
Definitely. So like I've actually been reading recently some of the stuff that Riot was talking about, but in general, this is nothing like Artifact. Artifact charges you money for everything. This charges you money for almost nothing. You can be free to play, and that their expectation is that if you played, you did your dailies, when the next set came out, you should have like all the cards. So like without having to be a pure grinder, you should be capable of getting all the stuff together relatively quickly and easily. So like that's great. They talked about the reason they limited the beginning was so that you didn't sit there and go and you're like, oh, I'm new to this game, and the first thing you run into is an entirely purchased meta deck with like 8 legendaries and a bunch of crazy stuff, because you're just like, what the hell is this?
I mean, that's what I would have done.
Yeah. Yeah, I threw a hundo on it, and it's like I've used up like $6, I think.
Yeah.
But they give a ton of free stuff, and they're going to make all of their money via like you buying, alt image, whatever, and just different custom art, as opposed to you having to spend on the cards themselves. So being able to get in there for free, really tight. Gameplay's been tight so far, and because they make the cards so accessible, they have no qualms with going and murdering things that are overpowered, that they find are overpowered, or that the community just hates overall, right? Like if the community rages about a specific card for long enough, they'll just change it, even if they think they shouldn't, because the community complained about it and they don't want you guys to be unhappy. That's
sense.
more than we can get from FFG in like a 3-month system. They'll change it in a week, man. No lies. So I'm looking forward to it. It's free. Gonna try to be pro.
One thing I will say that hasn't been mentioned. I played all the tutorial games with my roommate, just trying to figure it out. Some of them were actually kind of tough, just because I didn't. There was one in particular where I didn't realize that attacking the order actually mattered, where the person dealt damage and then someone flipped, and I was like, "How am I supposed to know that? I didn't know that." And I figured it out eventually, but
I lost that.
That's a tutorial.
yeah. Well, they didn't even say anything. They were just like, "Oh, figure it out." I'm like,
No,
all right.
one of the tutorials, the AI has to block wrong for you to win. So like you wouldn't think that they're gonna block wrong like that, and then they do, and you're just like, well, okay. Wow. Like it was the only one I had to redo too. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, one of the things that we found cool is that unlike some of the other CCG, like digital CCGs like Hearthstone, that they actually have put some effort into making it feel kind of like a video game, where like there's animations and things happen, like when you level up your guys, they're like, "Oh, I've leveled up," and stuff like that. And it's just like, okay, well,
I definitely wish I could turn all that shit off.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. It depends on whether or not you like it or you don't like it. Like, I'm assuming that if you play like hundreds and hundreds of games, eventually it'll get old. But
yeah, the different champions have like lines that they'll say to each other when you play certain ones.
Yeah.
And I think like since their model also is selling cosmetics, what they're selling is pretty high quality. So like you have like a little avatar or character that like sits on the side and cheers for you, and you can pet and stuff. You can buy different, you can buy different ones of those, and then you can buy different play mats. But instead, it's not just visual. I think someone was saying it like has different music that plays when you do it. So, it seems to be a little higher quality than some of the cosmetic stuff you get in other games, where it's usually just a quick little visual change.
Well, we'll probably get those soon too, though, right? Like you get the alt art actual cards. You get like Christmas tree shop Katarina and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll find ways to keep pumping stuff out.
But I don't know. They talked about having the meta flip like every month or so, based on
That's
like
cool.
changes and new cards coming in. So that'll be tight. But happy so far. Look forward to some stuff. Anything else?
Sweet. No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, you know,
Hour on the nose. Perfect.
Perfect.
Nailed it.
you guys have a good one.
3-year anniversary playing Destiny this week popped up on my feed. First tournament I ever went to. Sad times.
Got wrecked. I wasn't even at that one.
Who won?
I lost one game and the first one, and then I won the
Wrecked.
second. Super destroyed.
Scrub.
Yeah. But yeah, no article from Bobo. This is my birthday. I'm not writing an article on my birthday.
Happy birthday, Bobo.
Thank you. Happy birthday to Bobo.
Sunday
Yeah.
Super Bowl late. All right.
Oh yeah.
But last parting thoughts,
No, thanks for listening.
dude.
Go Kansas City.
Go Pirates.